The Appalachian Mountains, stretching from Alabama to Canada, have a diverse geological history that includes significant limestone formation. The limestone deposits in Appalachia primarily formed during the Paleozoic era, especially in the Ordovician and Mississippian periods. During these times, much of the region was covered by shallow seas. These seas were rich in marine life, including corals, shellfish, and other organisms that contributed to limestone formation. As marine organisms lived and died, their calcium carbonate-rich shells and skeletons accumulated on the seafloor. Over time, these sediments compacted and cemented together to form limestone. The Appalachian Mountains of our region are the result of ancient tectonic activity. The collision of tectonic plates caused the region to fold, fault, and uplift. This tectonic activity affected the limestone deposits, causing them to be folded and faulted as the mountains formed. Over millions of years, erosion has worn away the overlying rocks, exposing the limestone layers. The rugged terrain of the Appalachian Mountains often features exposed limestone formations in cliffs, caves, and landscapes. In any building project, a structure is only as good as its foundation. The better the foundation, the longer use can be made of the property. One of the factors hardest to plan for is site preparation. You can core drill and get a good idea of what is beneath, but can never be certain. Only during excavation can anyone know for sure. One of the hardest to predict is the Appalachian region of East Tennessee, where our new school is being constructed. Today, a huge shelf of limestone rock has been located on the property slated to be our new middle school. Some rocks, such as shale or other layered sedimentary rock, can be broken or ripped with a dozer, but limestone is different. Limestone is the stone quarried for our roads and driveways. Limestone is the most common mineral in East Tennessee. No property is immune from it. Simply, it is just how large of a deposit you find. The one we found is roughly the size of the former superintendent's building at the Maynardville Elementary School playground. While contingency money is built into the scope of the project for just these things, this is an alarming turn of events. Director of Schools Greg Clay is meeting with the excavators to determine how best to proceed with the least impact on the budget. Excavation crews use a variety of methods to remove large deposits of limestone from a site area. The choice of method depends on factors such as the size and depth of the deposit, the local geology, environmental considerations, and economic factors. Here are some common techniques used in the excavation of limestone. Drilling and blasting. In drilling, holes are drilled into the limestone deposit using rotary drills or other specialized drilling equipment. The holes are prepared for explosives that help in breaking down large volumes of rock. Blasting. Explosives are placed in the drilled holes and detonated to break the limestone into smaller, more manageable pieces. Blasting is effective for large deposits and can create fragmented rock that is easier to transport and process. Blasting requires careful planning to control fragmentation and minimize environmental impact. Safety measures are critical due to the risks associated with explosive use. Mechanical removal. Heavy machinery, such as excavators and front-end loaders, may be used to scoop and transport limestone from the site. This is effective for handling fragmented limestone after blasting or rocks that are easily broken into small pieces. Equipment size and capacity should match the scale of the operation. This makes this in most cases the most cost-effective measure. However, costs can still be very expensive, and if the formation is large, blasting may still be required. What do you do with the limestone after it is removed? After extraction, part of the cost is created by removing the undesirable stone. However, if the deposit is large enough, a negative can become a positive. The stone may be quarried on site and used in cement, fill, or underlayment for roads or lots. After blasting, large limestone blocks are reduced in size using crushers. One must remember that the crushing process generates dust and noise, which must be managed. Dust control measures are also necessary. Finding a large deposit of rock on your site is troubling, but not insurmountable. A steady hand and consideration given to all scenarios usually moves the building project around the obstacle.
Good dirt and bad dirt. All dirt's good. If you look over that direction, you'll see a giant mountain of dirt. That's topsoil. Topsoil's sought after. People want topsoil, but when it comes to building, it's not. What you want when you're building and getting ready for a foundation is clay, which is like this. When it's compacted and compressed, it becomes almost as hard as rock. Now, you compact any, but if you compact topsoil, it does that. That's as hard as a rock. This is what you want. And that's why they're digging this out of other areas and bringing it down and compacting it to make a good foundation for the building. Over here is the grade level, the first grade level of the lower, more easterly side of what's going to be the school. And as you can see, they're compacting in dirt. They're taking out dirt that doesn't compact and putting dirt in that does.
The dozer is taking dirt removed from higher levels of the site brought to it by huge haul trucks and spreading it evenly for the compactor to compress it. Large haul trucks, twice the size of dump trucks you see on the road, bring dirt to the dozer over and over all day long. Every time a layer is spread, a sheep's foot compactor presses it in. Hitting rock is the fear of any contractor putting in a foundation or a pad. Unfortunately, even after massive core drilling, we have hit a monster rock. The entire formation is almost 300 feet long and about 20 feet wide. Solid limestone does not lend itself to ripping. This rock must be dug out and broken up. These flyovers of the rock formation are from an elevation of about 60 feet. It is hard to get perspective on an online video. For reference, if a grown man stood beside the exposed part of the rock, it would be above his head. This video was filmed over 3 or 4 days. Later this day, the excavation company would use an excavator with hydraulic hammer to start busting the rock. An excavator with a hydraulic hammer would start on the rock at the north end of the site. The area you see it working in will be the retaining pond. The video of the excavator was taken by a drone, so there is no audio.
When we first started filming this segment, this was the rock, and you'll see some video of this rock that I flew over. But as you can see, 4 or 5 days later, and a lot of effort by a pneumatic hammer on an excavator, they've made a lot of progress on this rock, busting it up. And the great thing about limestone, it's a sedimentary rock, so it has fissures. And if you put enough pressure and enough impact on it, most times it will splinter. So that's what they're doing. They still got a huge amount to go through, but they're making great inroads in getting this rock out of here. And I'm really very impressed with what they're doing. So the question now is whether this rock can be used on the site or whether, it has to be removed. So what we're going to show you is the history of 33 Highway and how it ties in with the new school. If you ever had a chance to watch the Robert Mitchum film Thunder Road, the movie is about this very road, 33 Highway. Went all the way into Harlan, Kentucky, and all the way west in Tennessee to Farragut. The moonshiners would haul their moonshine out of the mountains, take it to Farragut to catch the railroad north where their biggest sales were at, shipping moonshine up north. And when the moonshiners would haul their moonshine, they had to avoid the police, the revenuers, and all that. So it was very important to build a fast car that could outrun the police. And that's the beginning of NASCAR. People building fast cars so that they could outrun somebody. When moonshining kind of waned and went away, these people still had these cars and the desire to build fast cars. And that's on the dirt tracks is where NASCAR started. And NASCAR traces its roots back to the moonshiners, the Johnson family, and people like that. Union County had its fair share of moonshiners. Some say they still do. But coming north from Knox County, 33 Highway followed this route, but it turned right through there and went down through there. There's a little bit of this left, including one bridge down here. The bridge was replaced, but it's basically the same bridge. Right down there was the old original 33 Highway. It came down here, and right there before the trees, it made a turn. And it went across this new part of 33 Highway, almost at a 90-degree angle, and went that way out towards what's the racetrack now, and crossed the creek right out there at a little bridge. It went on the back of this hill here, and when they came along and built the new part, they moved it to this side of the hill. Old 33 followed the back of this hill around by where the racetrack is now and came out right here about where this bridge abutment starts. It came back out, crossed over again, and went down in this hole and followed this hole, and that's part of it right there. Looks like a driveway. That's part of the old highway, and crossed back over right here in front of Paulette Elementary School. Paulette Elementary School's front drive is part of the old Maynardville Highway, or old Highway 33. It crossed and went right over through there, up by the church. It followed along right here in front of a building right there, which was an old store. Later became the Coon Hunters Club. But it was there for years, and followed basically where we are right now, out here to Sexton's Auto Sales, and we can take part of it here, and came right down through here. What we're on right now is the old Highway 33, replaced in the early 70s. At one time, this was the main route to Kentucky from Knoxville. And as a matter of fact, it was called the Knoxville, Kentucky Road. If you can imagine thinking back to those days, the gas trucks, dump trucks, everything was on this road. But what
What you're on right now is the old 33 highway. And before that, Thunder Road. So right now we're behind Jack's Store and Woods Music. And the road continued to go north from here. It's blocked off now and grown up in trees. But the road now turns and goes up to the new road. But the original road made a sharp curve right here and then crossed back over towards where Marlock and Clayton Homes is now. Now it crossed the road right here and made another sharp turn. Right down in this hole behind where this dump truck is. Behind where this dump truck is, there was an old country store. And the country store is kind of like a junk store. Was there for many years, and when the road come through to build what we're sitting on right now in traffic, they took his property. He didn't want to sell and refused to sell, so they took him to court. They took him to court and had a jury trial as to whether or not the state could take the property. The man lost his case, but the jury did award him a lot more money than what the state had offered him. But the road followed along on the left side of where we are now, and you can see what's left of it straight ahead here. They've just now pulled up the asphalt that was there. But it followed that line right there. Now down here where the flashing light is and the white truck sitting on the shoulder was a nursery, Gus Green's Nursery. Originally it was a church. I can't remember what the name of the church was, but right in there sat Gus Green's Nursery. And you can come down here and buy your plants for planting season or whatever. It's gone now. But 33 Highway followed over here on the left. Still a little bit of it here in front of Russell Subdivision. That road going up through there was the original 33 Highway. What we're driving on right now is going to be gone before long. The original 33 Highway followed right through here, but instead of being dug out like this road is to make it as flat as it is, it more followed the hills. So there was a lot more ups and downs. Of course, back in those days, they didn't have a lot of way to dig, so they just built roads the best they could. And it ran right to our left. It followed this road right up through here. That's part of it right over here. It went up on top of this little rise right here where this road goes through it. And you can see over here at the barn, that's part of it right there. That's truly the original Thunder Road. Matter of fact, we can catch another part of it right here at the lower end of John Deere Drive, down next to the quarry. Now this is the lower end of what we know today as John Deere Drive, but this was the main highway. This was the original Highway 33 and Thunder Road. I forget sometimes that some people haven't lived here their whole lives, and John Deere Drive, if anybody out there's wondering why it's called John Deere Drive, for years the largest business, retail business here in the county was a John Deere dealership owned by Roy and later Von Graves. And right in front of where we're building the new school, where the thrift store is now, the Goodwill thrift store, was a John Deere dealer. And if anybody talked about Union County, they generally talked about going there for a John Deere tractor or whatever, because other than a couple of car lots, which we'll do at another date, It was probably one of the biggest businesses in our county. Now in here, the building right here across from Booker's 1 that they're remodeling now used to be a bait and tackle shop. And if you ever read in Union County The Murder of Hollis Kids, that's the store that they robbed and kidnapped Hollis kids from. Going across Hickory Star, this is still part of John Deere Drive and Thunder Road. Now we're following Old 33 here, or what's known as John Deere Drive today. We're coming up on the new school site. We're going behind the Taco Bell, getting ready to pass Brewer Hollow Road. Brewer Hollow Road here is where one of the roads we're going to have to improve for the school. Coming around the curve here, and we're almost to the new school site. New school site on John Deere Drive, also known as Old Highway 33 and Thunder Road. Now from here, we're going to stop here for a minute. There's nothing behind me. Notice how this road that we're on, if we go straight and we just keep going straight, drive through the grass and across Maynardville Highway out there, you'll see that this road lines up perfectly with the driveway going to Horace Maynard or Union County High School. This road lines up perfectly with the driveway for Union County High School. That's because this and that used to be the same road at one time. The front drive of Union County High School past the curve was Thunder Road. It was the original 33 highway. Okay, we're coming up through the Union County High School parking lot now. The part that we're on right now wasn't, but I'm going to show you part of 33 highway here at the school. This was all built later. But right here where you see the curve, what we're on right now was built later, but the minute we get around this curve, you're back on Old Highway 33, Thunder Road. Now we're going to come out up here at Rocky Top Market, and we're going to go straight across to what's Main Street through Maynardville. Again, Main Street was part of the old original Highway 33. And if you look to the right here on the sidewalk, you see a sign that says the original Thunder Road. As far as I know, that and one other is the only two signs that commemorate this road. As famous as this road is, to even have a movie made about it, there's very little to commemorate it. And that's something I think we're losing out on as a county, is we don't capitalize on some of our history. If anything has taught us anything, we've got to learn from the Opry that was started by a couple of people here in the county. Things like that can attract people. We've had movies filmed here in Union County. Basically, NASCAR started on this road, and we're not capitalizing on any of that history, any at all. But we're on the old Highway 33. We're getting ready to come by the middle school that's being replaced. It's going to be to our left up here at this overpass. And in 1950, that school was built. Most of what you see here on this end is a new addition. It's been built onto so many times. But we're going to stay on this road through Maynardville. to show you the upper end of what was Thunder Road. We're at the upper end of Main Street. Right here on your right in this intersection, not this one, but the next little intersection, used to be a little store set right there called Quickie Mickey's. They had the best little hamburgers. Got me through high school when I went to Union County High School. I was a really picky eater, so Mom and Dad gave me a note that, and you could do this back in the day, I could leave school anytime I wanted to and go get something to eat. My wife says I was privileged. But this is the end of Main Street. And if you look straight across the road, you'll see where the original Highway 33 continued on. This is what was called the S-curves. This curved to the left and then quickly curved back to the right. And I'll show you where that's at in a minute. And the curve that followed this one and went back to the right was called Dead Man's Curve. And it was called that because several people did get killed on it. Tractor trailers turned over. Numerous wrecks, and you'll see why here in just a second. But coming out here from 61 back onto modern 33 highway, the minute we pull out on this road, to the right, you'll see what's left of Dead Man's Curve. Don't know what you can see today with it grown up as deep as it is, but it came out right here about where that North 33 sign is. It come out and then curved straight up the hill right here. So coming down this hill and making that sharp curve, there was a house right down in the hole that cars ended up in their yard constantly. But believe it or not, this was not the original 33 highway. This was still the new part. The original 33 highway came up here after Dead Man's Curve and made another super sharp curve to this. This is the road back across Fox Hunters Ridge over into Little Valley, Hickory Valley, and all that. But this was the original 33 highway. And these are the turns that the big trucks and stuff in the 20s, 30s, and 40s had to make. And they would climb this hill on their way to Tazewell, Kentucky, or whatever. This was Highway 33, Thunder Road. Now going down the back of this ridge, if you can imagine driving a tractor trailer, a dump truck, or whatever, and following this ridge all the way off as deep as some of these hollows are. But this road dates back to the days of horse and buggy. Do you know that the original wheel tax in Tennessee, if you want to call it that, was based on using roads, and the wheels were wooden wheels on a wagon. Each person in the county was taxed with bringing a wagon of rocks to build the roads. And you would pick up rocks on your farm, and you would bring them and donate them to build the roads. And that was the first road tax that we saw in Tennessee. Now we're coming around the curve here at the bottom of the ridge. We're still on old Highway 33. To your right here in these weeds was a little country store. There's a little bit of it still there. I don't remember whose country store that was, but if we go right around this curve from that country store to right here, right past this stop sign, there was a country store owned by Callie Gilbert. Set right down in there. And the two stores existed side by side for many years. I remember old people telling me that Callie used to sit in her store and watch, and if you went to that store to buy something and they didn't have it, you come down there, Callie wouldn't sell it to you because she should have came to her first. I don't know that that's true, but that's the lore of the county. A phone call came one day from Tazewell. A bank had been robbed. At that time, we had a pretty much a no-nonsense sheriff in Union County. His name was Bratch Hutchison. Bratch Hutchison got the phone call that Gus McCoy and his gang was headed south after robbing that bank. Gus picked up a local mechanic, deputized him, loaded him in the car, and came this way. This was the direction of the river bridge that crossed the Clinch River. As they approached the river bridge, they met Gus McCoy and his gang. Pulling their car across the road, they stopped them. And Union County Sheriff Bratch Hutchison was shot to death getting out of his car. Now that bridge was farther on out this way. And a lot of people think that Sheriff Hutchison was killed on the old bridge across the lake. That's not true. It was an old metal bridge that crossed the river. And he followed this road to his death. Straight across Hickory Valley. This is still part of the old Highway 33. The road that would take Bratch Hutchison to his death on the bridge. And also, at his death, county court, for the first time ever in the state of Tennessee, appointed his wife, a woman, to be the sheriff. The first lady sheriff in Tennessee. The first lady sheriff in Tennessee was in Union County.